Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Raven Plays. I'm your humble host, Raven800, and today is going to be a little bit of a different video, mainly because I just kind of wanted to get this off my chest as like a video essay or some kind of vlog or whatever. Mainly because they're my thoughts on the latest Jurassic World movie entry, Jurassic World Dominion, and I see a lot of people are kind of like ripping into it and tearing it apart limb from limb. And I just kind of want to put in my 2 cents. Big shout out before I begin to Klayton. He is another YouTuber that I would watch periodically after Jurassic World came out. Through his videos, I was able to learn a bit more about what people call the Jurassic Park or Jurassic World iceberg. Basically learning about new things, new and different things of the lore, and the franchise, TV shows that could have been but never came to be, things like that. So if something like that interests you, go ahead and check out his videos. I'll link his channel in the description below. Another shout out goes out to Alteori, mainly because I would periodically watch her videos as well, and she watches a lot of dinosaur and monster movies, and has a bit of a say in the Jurassic World, Jurassic Park franchise, and many of the dinosaur movies and horror movies that I've seen were, recommendations off of her channel, and I guess her style of video essays and whatnot, reviews and things like that, and video commentary kind of inspired this video in a sense. So if you're interested in monster movies, dinosaur movies, things like that, and video commentary, feel free to look up her channel. I'll provide a link in the description as well. So with those out of the way, let's go ahead and dig right into it. Obviously, Jurassic World Dominion somehow was extremely popular, did well in the box office, but a lot of people are just taking a massive dump on it, and with good reason, because unfortunately Jurassic World Dominion, spoiler alert by the way, Jurassic World Dominion doesn't focus on the dinosaurs as much as a dinosaur movie should. You would think that with the trailers and advertising that it would be a movie about the struggles between humanity trying to coexist with this new dinosaur threat that has been unleashed across North America. But in fact, the dinosaurs kind of sort of take a back seat to this new plot slash story arc of Clone Girl Maisie and Beta, which is supposed to be Blue's child. I'm not even going to say if it's a boy or a girl, just child. And Biosyn having to use their DNA to try and better control these prehistoric locusts that are targeting crops that aren't sponsored or created by Biosyn. And it just it's awful. It's just a very awful story, and it kind of turned the Jurassic Park franchise into more of an action adventure an action movie rather than an adventure movie, so whatever. I'm not going to sit here and just, crap all over the story. I'm not going to sit here and, criticize the writers and, oh, what were you thinking? Oh my god, you people are horrible. Hollywood this, corruption that, writers stupid, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to do all that. I'm going to give these people the benefit of the doubt and say that they probably tried to come up with something decent in a short amount of time, and this was probably the best that they could come up with. So with that, I'll say Instead, what I feel could have made it a lot better. And my first thing, or first point of this is obviously focus more on the dinosaurs and the coexistence between them and humans. So, of course, dinosaurs have been unleashed all over, you know, the United States. They've probably migrated up towards Canada, you know, they've probably went so far down as to go to Mexico, whatever. The point being is that they're in the northern continent, like they're in North America. And now they're having to coexist with humans. Now, I've seen the internet short, Battle at Big Rock. If you haven't seen it, I strongly recommend you do. And this is a perfect example of how humans are forced to coexist with dinosaurs now, because now it's, going out and camping is no longer as safe as it usually would be if you go out to like a national park or something. Obviously, the dangers of camping are real. You have wolves, bears, other predatory animals, things like that could come along and antagonize you. But nothing as crazy or monstrous as an Allosaurus or a Carnotaurus or a T-Rex. These large animals have a very high fatality rate compared to, say, like a bear or a pack of wolves. With a pack of wolves, you could probably fight them off. A bear, you could probably intimidate, depending on what type of bear it is, depending on the circumstance. You have a higher survival rate of, when you encounter a bear or a pack of wolves or a wolf compared to a giant alligator, a giant prehistoric alligator. I'm just saying, they're lizards. Lizards are very cold creatures. They don't care. They're alive like me. Oh, honey, they don't care. They'll still eat you whether you're a cloner or not, So, yeah, so trying to make the movie more focused on this aspect. All right, you can still keep a lot of the characters and some of the story, but here's how I think it would have been made a lot better. So, of course, following the events of Fallen Kingdom, a couple years later, now Owen, Claire, and Maisie are now living together as a kind of surrogate family, right? While living together, they are also volunteering for the Dinosaur Welfare Foundation or whatever that Claire had started in Fallen Kingdom. And they're working alongside what is it? They're working alongside wildlife control and animal control specialists and all this stuff so that they can capture, medicate, relocate, and house these dinosaurs. So with this idea that I have for Dominion, we're kind of getting rid of the quote-unquote importance of Maisie's DNA being a clone of a scientist who had some kind of illness and she was created so that she wouldn't have these genetic imperfections or whatever. Okay, whatever. We're getting rid of that story arc. All right, we're just having it so, she's a clone, and that's why she felt the need to release the dinosaurs, because at that time she was younger, she felt like she was doing the right thing. Okay, I can sympathize with that, or I can empathize with that. All right, well, empathize, sympathize, I don't know. I can relate, okay? I probably would have done the same thing if it was like a pack of wild dogs or, a group of caged bears, things like that. I probably would have released them too, even though they probably would have been very dangerous in their environment. Um, so we dropped that arc, and then of course, to keep it even more consistent with Fallen Kingdom and previous Jurassic Parks, we get rid of Beta because unfortunately Beta has no reason to exist in this movie other than to be kidnapped, right? And that's just a stupid arc. So we have Blue be the last raptor in North America. All right. Well, technically Blue being the last raptor in the world because she was the only one that was pulled off of the island, and she was the only raptor left after Jurassic World fell. Now, that's not including Isla Sorna, because we don't know, based on the movies, we don't know what happened to Isla Sorna, so we don't know if people went to Isla Sorna and captured more dinosaurs, like raptors, off of there, or what have you. I don't know. We'll probably never know. But, yeah, at this point, Blue is technically the last raptor in existence. So we'll have a little exception for her in just a minute. So in this idea of Owen, Claire, and Maisie being part of the Dinosaur Welfare Foundation and working alongside wildlife preservists and wildlife control and animal control, things like that, they are basically helping these other, wildlife control agencies in hunting down herbivores that have been injured or have caused problems in farmland so that they can either be medicated, or relocated. Things like that, or they bring them together, or they create a herd, and then they relocate the entire herd to another place that isn't so inconvenient to humans, things like that. And then, of course, they also hunt down carnivores because they pose a threat to a nearby town, a nearby school, a nearby park, a nearby nature preserve, things like that. And with the carnivores, I suppose it would kind of be like a no-kill shelter type scenario because they have no idea what they could do with the carnivores once they've captured them. They can't simply just release them back out into the wild because they will still pose a significant threat. Not that the herbivores aren't a threat, right? But that the carnivores are even more of a threat, not just to humanity, but also to some of the endangered species out there that we already have in the northern Americas, right? So, I suppose this next part will be kind of like a bit fan fiction-y because after watching the Jurassic World Dominion movie, I kind of asked myself, if I had to make a character that lived in this universe after Fallen Kingdom, during the Dominion arc, like what kind of character would he be? And I ended up creating a character named Jeremiah Ahab, who is he's a wildlife ranger of sorts, and he has a wife that he goes camping with regularly. And during one of their camping trips after the events of Fallen Kingdom, she kind of pops the surprise on him that she is pregnant and that he will soon have a child. And, after receiving this good news, unfortunately, tragedy strikes in the form of either an Allosaurus or, a Carnotaurus, a large predator, or even a smaller predator like a Dilophosaurus or a Troodon or, something, right? And she would be attacked by this dinosaur, and unfortunately she would not survive, and this would scar him for life. And so from that point forward, he has dedicated himself to hunting down these carnivores after hearing everything that happened, after figuring out that, the events of Fallen Kingdom, and hearing about the dinosaurs having been released and all that stuff. He's now dedicated his life to hunting down specifically carnivores so that he can prevent them from doing any more damage to not only human lives but also to the rest of the environment. This has basically become his thing. So as Owen, Claire, and Maisie are participating in the DWF and working with wildlife control, they come across Jeremiah Ahab, who runs one of the facilities in Arizona. And he kind of reveals his backstory to Owen, who is asking him how he runs things, because Owen, being an animal behavioralist, I think, if that's what it's called, he's asking, how are you, he's asking questions about the facility, the upkeep, the herbivore paddocks, how they're being treated, things like that, how they go about medicating dinosaurs, things like that, right? And then, he kind of tells them, with the herbivores, this is our plan. We bring them in, we heal them if necessary, we relocate them. We only keep them here temporarily, and we usually release them back into the wild, kind of like a catch and release system. And then when Owen asks about what they do with the predators, he kind of hesitates for a minute, and he informs them that with the predators, we have a no-kill solution at the moment until we can figure out a better solution of how to set them back out into the wild. And when Owen's like, why do you keep him here indefinitely? Wouldn't that be dangerous to, all the park rangers that are here and everything? And Jeremiah will kind of reply, well, I would much rather have one of us be a fatal, casualty, if such a thing should occur, if a predator breaks out, than to have an innocent person become another victim to these vicious monsters. Example, he would much rather a park ranger be a casualty than, say, a child walking home from school, or a couple just walking in the park, or something like that. It's just to show how this has gravely affected him. So he doesn't want to kill these monsters. According to him, they're monsters. He doesn't want to kill these monsters. He just wants to contain them to ensure that they don't cause any more damage to, humans and the rest of the environment. And in revealing this backstory to Owen and Claire, Maisie kind of hears his backstory, of what happened to his wife, and how it affected him. And this would be the first time we actually get some kind of consequence, some kind of feedback of her actions in the previous movie of releasing the dinosaurs. That was one thing that I felt needed to happen, because nowhere in Dominion do anyone bring up the fact that she released the dinosaurs and it's causing problems for a lot of other people. All the while, she's upset that Owen and Claire are kind of hiding her away from the rest of the world, and she's just got this attitude, like a typical teenager who doesn't get out often attitude when she has to realize that it's not safe out there anymore, because of what she did. So this would kind of be a, I guess, justification, or not, I don't know. It would be some kind of acknowledgement of her actions in the previous movie that a lot of fans were crying out like, because there are a lot of people who disagreed with the idea of allowing the dinosaurs to escape, and I'm one of them. I feel that even though, I probably would have done something similar if it was any other animal, with the dinosaurs, they're way too dangerous to let loose, in today's environment. And that's something that, I felt was just kind of like, this is something that happened and there are no consequences or repercussions or anything like that. She's not being reprimanded in any way. So, the end. That's the end of that. And it's like, no. There needs to be some kind of repercussions. There needs to be some kind of reprimanding going on, because she pretty much ruined a lot of people's lives, whether she knows it or not. So having this backstory reveal kind of, makes her feel a little guilty about her actions. But in making her feel guilty, it also pushes her forward. It also develops into her character and makes her more dedicated to the preservation and containment of these predators as well. Because any other person, right? It could have been any other person that would have been like, oh no, these dinosaurs, they killed my wife. I'm going to go out now and I'm going to kill this dinosaur. Like, you could easily turn it into a revenge plot, but I don't want that to be a revenge plot. I don't want there to be a revenge plot, because we've all seen how that goes. Man plots revenge, just like in Moby Dick, Captain Ahab, going off, getting revenge on a whale, and then he ends up dying alongside it, It's like, revenge is never whatever. The moral of the story is revenge. Not good. I just had a brain fart. Anyway, so this will kind of drive her to be more of a... Like, this will kind of like be her attempt at redemption, where she focuses on the efforts to contain these dinosaurs and possibly even help to relocate the carnivores to areas where humans kind of aren't a big deal, I guess, or kind of like aren't populating as much. Things like that. That way, the character of Maisie is still relevant. Now, bonus, we could even have it where Owen finds that Blue has been captured by one of these wildlife preserves or wildlife control centers, and in an attempt to have her released instead of have her entrapped indefinitely, he could train her to be kind of like a track animal. Like how hunters have bloodhounds and things like that. She could be used to help the DWF to track down dinosaurs, whether they be herbivore or carnivore, so that they can, better hunt them down and gather them and bring them back to the facility for either medical aid or relocation or containment. And we could have that thing. And then that kind of like makes like a headline thing where it's like, oh wow, or not even a headline thing, but that can just be, something that happens and then word gets around. We could also have Ellie Sadler, being a paleobotanist, acting on or coming on as a dietitian for these dinosaurs in one or several facilities, right? Because like in the first movie, she was trying to figure out whether or not the Triceratops was eating West Indian lilac, which was supposedly poisonous to animals. We never really got to see much of that in the movie, but in the book, it's better explained that they wouldn't see traces of them because they, just like many other lizards in today's environment, would eat soft or rounded pebbles to help grind down certain foods that they would eat. And that's, things like that, right? So Ellie Sattler would, be kind of like a dietitian to help these, to help provide more information of what certain herbivores would find edible compared to toxic, plants and plants that they would eat or that they couldn't eat. And she would, kind of get word of, oh, hey, Owen Grady is training this raptor to be a track animal so that we can find and hunt more dinosaurs so that we can actually, and that would fascinate her. That would then be passed down from word of mouth from Ellie to Dr. Grant, who would be extremely fascinated by this. And then this would kind of tie in the whole Ellie's investigation arc, where they have, like, Ellie will still have connections to the government and everything because she's still married to her husband, who is part of the government or who works for the government, right? Which is the whole reason why Grant was saved by the Navy and the Marines in Jurassic Park 3. And we could have it so that her husband is working with government officials to monitor dinosaur activity, especially after the Lockwood estate had sold many of the dinosaurs overseas, and they've probably been shipped to other countries, right? So now they're kind of monitoring other countries to see if there's any dinosaur activity there. That's when Ellie, instead of investigating the locusts, right, that are in the movie, we get rid of the locust arc, right? And we instead have it so that, we've had several sightings of dinosaurs in other places like Europe and Russia, but some of the dinosaurs that have been sighted in Europe aren't like the dinosaurs that we've seen now. Like, they look extremely different. Some of them even new species that we've never seen before. And this would kind of like spark the investigation arc between Sattler and Grant. And then eventually, we have everything happen in the rest of the movie as it happens, where the characters, they meet up, they go to Italy or wherever it was that the underground fighting rings were going. They bust it. They try and free or control contain the dinosaurs. It fails. They get loose. People are dying and freaking out. They escape with the help of a smuggler and things like that. And then they come across, Biosyn and Dodson, and plot twist, it turns out that Dodson and Biosyn are helping fund the dinosaur containment procedures, right? That, all around the world, in America and everything. Not just out of the goodness of their heart, but also because they are taking or gathering as much information about these dinosaurs and even DNA and gene samples from the captured dinosaurs to try and reverse engineer and synthesize a more accurate dinosaur so that they can release into into an open environment for further study. Kind of like picking up the torch that InGen dropped by synthesizing the purest form of dinosaur you could possibly think of. Hence the Pyroraptor and the Theracerosaurus, I think it's what it's called. I forget the name, I'm sorry. The one with the long claws. and yeah, just have it so that, you know, they're trying to pick up the torch that InGen dropped when they went the way of the theme park route, you know, and it failed twice. And they want to, instead of create a park, they want to create kind of like a nature preserve, a paleological nature preserve, an actual preserve, not a park, but a preserve where people can come and study these ancient dinosaurs, and maybe even through the use of their genetics, create things that can benefit humans, like new genetic, you know, mutations that can help with disease, cancer, viral outbreaks, things like that, right? That's the whole plot twist there. And then have Ian Malcolm, be part of this team, not as someone who was hired on, but as someone who insisted to be part of it, right? Because he kind of wants to be that I told you so person when it comes to Biosyn's failures and, you know, containment breaches and all this shit, you know, the whole chaos theory arc. And have it so that, you know, Ian Malcolm is just kind of like an advisor of, like, you know, what InGen did and what you should do, you know, things like that. Things to kind of like prevent from happening in order to help Biosyn. And then, you know, have it all just kind of fall apart when they realize that in creating a 100% accurate dinosaur, they have in some way created a much more intelligent raptor that has higher problem-solving skills than they could have ever anticipated. And these packs of raptors end up breaking out and causing havoc all over the Biosyn facilities, you know, and then just go from there, and just, I guess, kind of have it be, you know, kind of have it revolve back around to the Raptor arc, where it's like, oh shit, you know, well, this is it. This is one of the reasons why InGen failed, was because 1, greed, 2, highly intelligent animals that will always find a way to break containment, and 3, the illusion of control. So, you know, just, I think that probably would have made Dominion a lot better. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe everyone who's listening to this is thinking, wow, that's a really stupid story arc. And they'd probably, you know, you guys might have different opinions or ideas. And if that's the case, feel free to let me know in the comments below. But this is just kind of a soft rant of what I feel could have made the movie a lot better. So thank you all so much for listening. Do check out the other channels that I shouted out at the beginning of this rant. And yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Is my idea better? Is it worse? Is it on par? And yeah, if you liked the video, feel free to hit the like button as well to let me know that you want to see potentially more video rants like this in the future. I probably won't be doing a lot of video rants like this, mainly because it's not my style. But if it's something that you guys want to see more of, again, let me know in the comments. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching. As always, I'm your humble host, Raven800. I have, in the moment, or during the time of making this video, I also have another video in the works right now, highlighting some events that happened in Barotrauma, which was a game that me and a couple friends played together not too long ago. I'm still working on that. And then after I'm done working on that, I will go back to streaming the rest of Star Wars Dark Forces, so we can go ahead and put an end to that chapter. And then after streaming that, the end of Dark Forces, I'm going to jump back into Quake 4 and see if I can complete that game. And then from there, I guess we'll move on to Wolfenstein. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Anyway, thank you all so much again for watching. I hope you all have yourselves a good day, a good night, and I hope to see you all on the next one. Take care of yourselves, and have a happy 4th.